time too could be good too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. We're live with Tyler Moebius, CEO of Smart Media Technologies. Tyler, welcome back to the show here with Dematerialized and Smart Media about Web3 in practice. How are you? What have you been up to since our last conversation?
Doing well. Been pretty heads down. Started the new year, obviously, with a lot of the announcements around the partnership with Visa. That's been really exciting. Most recently, just launched a pretty significant campaign that we're pretty proud of with one of our partners, Pernod Ricard, which owns Jameson whiskey, and just did a big activation there where we've introduced the travel wallet so that fans of Jameson whiskey can arrive like a local for international travel, where they can go into a duty-free store and activate. They can register for a Web3 mobile wallet, where they can then. We just introduced receipt scanning into our wallet, into the Web3 wallet, so we can now actually do SKU level rewards. So the ability to be able to reward individuals for actual product purchase or SKU level purchases, not having to go through the POS of a retailer or like a duty-free store. So huge unlock, big feature release for us. It's out in the wild. Anybody here that find themselves on some international flights or in duty-free, please go pick up a bottle of Jameson whiskey, scan your receipt, and you'll get a Visa debit card, a prepaid branded Jameson Visa debit card, where if you then go to a bar in New York City where Jameson is served and you pick up a Jameson token in augmented reality, it then unlocks a $25 cash back that can be on that Jameson prepaid card. So pretty exciting activation and really kind of moving things forward. So how about yourself? I know you got a new background there. So where are you at right now?
Yeah, new background, reporting live from Miami this time. And been to NFT Paris 2 weeks ago and ETH Denver, kind of soaking in what's happening in the crypto Web3 space at the moment. Both of those conferences are very different. NFT Paris is all about culture, creativity, NFTs, brands, fashion, luxury. And it was great to see the whole scene coming together. I was there last year as well, much livelier. Much more people than last year, a lot of interesting discussions, a lot of brand executives, and a lot of general interest in the space. And it just felt good to see everyone, whereas Denver was very, very infrastructure focused, and you could really feel like the bull market kicking in with all those different builders across like all the different sectors in crypto and AI, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3s. Bitcoin was very present, so lots of activity happening there. And I think that the interesting thing about those two conferences is that they're complementary to each other. It needs the infrastructure, but it also needs the creative people who build those applications and the brands who build consumer engagement on that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah,
you need the foundational work of the tech that's been laid, but we really do need brands to be the ones that help, provide the motivation and inspiration for users to onboard into Web3.
Yeah, and in the highlight at NFT Paris was certainly the Sephora announcement, and I think I don't know if you heard about this, but Sephora Universe, they announced the whole kind of metaverse with different sub brands, collectibles, experiences for their clients, and I think that gives us a glimpse of where those brands are heading. They start connecting all those different platforms. Collectibles, reward experiences, immersive commerce experiences, together with the data layer, and that was very interesting and notable.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
we're seeing that as a trend from our clients as well. We're actually working on a pretty significant project right now, where the client really wants to be able to create that seamless digital experience between Web 2 and Web 3, where you're able to use the Web 3 wallet to log in for that for as the portal, where you could then collect digital objects physically using augmented reality, being able to pick those up, but then be able to take those into both kind of Web 2 metaverses, as I kind of refer them to, kind of similar to like a Roblox or an Epic or Call of Duty, and then your more traditional Web 3 metaverses, right, which are more open from that standpoint. But at the end of the day, as a user, you shouldn't be marred with any of those details. It should just be easy, fun, and interoperable, right, across all those platforms. So it's great to see brands really starting to understand that concept, and more importantly, for the platforms to start to open themselves up more, to create that interoperability.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so excited to have you here again, Tyler, for the third session. For everyone who joined now, welcome. I see a lot of people here in the channel. You can ask questions in the comments. We'll have plenty of time answering them at the end. Write, engage, ask what's on your mind, and we'll talk about that later. Excited to have you all here. Today, we're going to deep dive in a couple of case studies of smart media technologies and really like kind of untangle how this all works and how you can apply Web3 tech in practice for consumer engagement. And there's no better person than Tyler here. He's deep in all those cases, and I suggest we just kick it off with the first one. First one is about outside IO. And I think it would be great for all the listeners if you could give a quick summary of what's that about and what you did with them specifically.
Okay, great. And are we going to pull up the slide on that? That'd be great.
Yes.
Yeah. So Outside Magazine, they are a publisher who wanted to embrace Web3. I would say, this was kind of a traditional Web3 activation, where Outside launched Outside IO, where they wanted to provide, metaverse experiences, and really go after a new audience. So this is where I kind of put this into the category of a brand using Web3 as a channel, or as a new way of addressing crypto pros and kind of your more traditional Web3 audiences here. So the concept behind the launch of this was to create token gated experiences, where you could actually purchase a outside NFT. And this NFT and this project overall was really near and dear to my heart, living here in Colorado, and knowing that we spend a lot of time on our screens, and we actually need to get outside more. And so this entire digital experience was designed to get people outside. So you would collect that NFT at trailheads, and be able to purchase that, and that would unlock cool experiences. Like we did an activation with Jack Johnson, where we flew Jack Johnson in, and for a rooftop concert in New York, where your NFT gave you exclusive access to that concert with Jack Johnson as part of that. And so a really cool activation across the board. As you can see here, we had 16,000 people on board into the outside experience. What was also a pretty cool use case, or kind of for us at least, was we promoted this through the Solana community. So this was pretty early on. So we went to both Solana wallet holders and the Solana community. So we actually implemented it, and then we had our smart wallet, which was where we acted as a custodian. So we actually gave the users two choices, either using the SMT custodial wallet or using your own self-custody Solana wallet to be able to purchase the NFT. and to onboard those users. So, and what you see here is 83% of the total NFTs that were purchased, 83% of them were actually purchased through the SMT custodial wallet versus from the Solana community using their own custodial wallet, which I think is just real testament. Here's an entire project that was focused on using Web3 as a channel, yet 83% of the people, they used a 2-tap self-custodial, or the custodial wallet that we provided, and didn't even really need to deal with any of the complexity of owning their own wallet, right? So I think it's testament and shows that the key still is about making Web3 easy for users to be able to onboard and get people to adopt the technology there. So that was a great project and a fun one to work on.
Yeah, and if we now take a step back and kind of loop in the people who aren't very familiar with Web3, how did that project come about, and how did you explain that to the founders or executives of Outside.io why Web3 is a good idea?
Yeah, luckily this was one of those rare cases where they found us. And they had come to the conclusion on their own strategy that they wanted to look at going after a new audience. And they saw, the rise of the Solana community particularly. And they saw that as a real opportunity to use that as a new addressable audience. So they wanted to create a program and use Web3 as a channel. And they came to that conclusion on their own as part of their own strategy. And then we just became the technology provider to help enable that. But obviously, we then said, hey, awesome, we should go after the Solana community and promote this as a classic NFT drop to, in classic terms. But we should also ensure that this is addressable and accessible by maybe people who don't have a Solana wallet and who still want to be able to unlock exclusive perks and exclusive benefits by owning this NFT, but they may not even care that it's an NFT. They just love all of the content that's behind that and that comes with joining this project. So let's just make it easy for users to join the project.
And we see a number here, 127K revenues from passport sales. Are there any other numbers or feedback that you got from the client that you could share in terms of the success of that project?
Yeah. So in terms of them launching the project and for us being able to generate, this was kind of at the low point of crypto. So we're definitely like in crypto. We're in the crypto winter at this point. So I think that everybody was really happy with the engagement and with the ongoing community that came around that. I think that like I said, we were really fortunate too that it wasn't just a pure standalone community project in classic terms, but by making it overall addressable, we were able to bring people in and build that community outside of just Web3, but also Web2 at the same time.
So as I'm hearing now is you kind of use the Solana community at the same time as Web3 users to kind of launch this and bring this to success. Could you have done it without specifically targeting Solana users and the community?
Yeah, I mean, yes, they could have. It could have been a project that was, standalone. And in fact, I would say, now fast forward, like where we are now, the majority of our activations, we really abstract, the point of Web3. So, as a company at SMT, we say, look, Web3 is not the why, it's the how, right? These case studies that we pulled out, this one, Jack Daniels, which, and the Axe case studies, these were pure Web3 activations and that we wanted to bring. And I think it's kind of just testament to the fact that, for the Web3 industry, we need to be focused less on Web3 and more focused on the outcomes for brands, and be focused on, Web3 is not the why, it's the how. It enables that, making sure that your platform is Web3 enabled ensures it's future proof, so that you can do, projects and do NFT drops and give decentralized ownership and interoperability. But really, brands today, that is not why they're using Web3. They're, simply because it's Web3, they're really looking for, how is this driving deeper engagement? How is this driving, better loyalty? And how is this driving a more seamless, connected digital experience across all of my marketing channels, right? That's really, right now, that's kind of the moment, in terms of why brands are signing up for Web3.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's very well put. And you mentioned Jack Daniels as well. That's another case study we're going to look at today. I have here a short video that we can watch. And you can maybe just explain it, Tyler. What was that project about with Jack Daniels?
Yeah, this was a great project. We partnered Yahoo Studios, and what Jack Daniels wanted to do in partnership with Sony Music was, really activate against promoting local bands and local musicians. We took a kind of classic NFT approach here, to where you could, collect these NFTs, and then have all the secondary royalty sales go to the benefit of the artists. So kind of check that box in terms of supporting the creator economy. The other element of this is we made them fun, we made them engaging, in terms of, they were augmented reality, they were AR enabled. So you could actually, click on an Instagram post, you could scan a QR code in digital out of home, and then actually go and pick up the NFTs on a map, right? We then enabled, we acted as the custodial wallet for that. Which is what Jack Daniels loves and Sony loves, because we reduced that complexity for them. And then we enabled the users to actually be able to user mint these NFTs to a collection on OpenSea for each of those bands. And so really being able to bring together both, the Web 2 element and the Web 3, so making it easy to onboard fans and users, while at the same time still allowing users to be able to mint those NFTs to Polygon in this case, and be able to push it to a collection on OpenSea. And with that NFT, as you can see here, it unlocked exclusive content. So the music notes, and interviews with the artists and the musicians. And so another key element of it being token gated. So again, unlocking, perks, benefits, and content, exclusive content, token gated behind the experience.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, this looks super cool, and it's great, a great case study that shows how you can bring all those elements together. I think that's one of your strengths at Smart Media Technologies, that you can combine in real life with digital experiences, seamless wallet experiences, and just like cool activations with those brands. Have you seen any kind of particular interest in terms of the audience for that campaign? More like younger digital natives, or was this spread out across?
Yeah, no, definitely skewed. And that was kind of the intention for Jack Daniels. One, making this an international campaign, so making the brand obviously relevant within Australia. And so that was, the campaign goal and objective. And then being able to connect with a mobile first, digital savvy, affluent, music fan. And then I think that they did a really great job as well in terms of identifying the bands who had those fans as an addressable audience, right? So the partnership with, Winston Surfshirt, and as you see here, and the three bands that we partnered with, were really able to sort of unlock, access to those bands fans, and then giving them a platform to be able to onboard those users, right, and engage with them in a more engaging way. And then, kind of classic, you need that call to action. What was the game, what we call the gamified giveaway element of that was obviously the trip to Tennessee, to actually go and tour the Jack Daniel's facility, which is a huge hit, particularly with the Aussies on being able to go overseas and send a couple of Aussies on tour, as they like to say.
Yeah, cool. And again, like putting on the glasses of someone who's not very familiar with Web3, might ask him herself, why Web3 for that? What's the technology behind it that drives it? What would you answer to that question?
Yeah, I think, why Web3 in this case was really kind of to be focused on the traditional creator economy, right? And that, and the element of this of really being able to support local artists, right? So not only, being able to have Jack Daniel's be the sponsor of this activation, and all of the social media, all of the paid impressions that happened as a result of that, was really just supported the local musicians, right, and giving them a stage and recognition as part of that. Couple that with the fact that these NFTs could be minted, or can be minted to OpenSea. We also wrote the smart contracts for these in such a way that the secondary sales, so if these fans sold that NFT, then a portion of that sale goes back to the original artists and back to the musicians. So being able to leverage smart contracts to leverage secondary royalty payments to support musicians and support the overall creator economy.
Super cool. All right. So Jack Daniels, again, a call to the audience. Thanks a lot for joining. If you have questions, ask them in the chat. I will answer them at the end. So super excited, Tyler, about this case study. We have a third one ready as well. That's Dogeday. And I'm going to play a video as well, and you can quickly explain what this is all about and what you've done with X here.
Yeah, well, there we got Elon promoting Dogeday and the Dogecoin on Saturday Night Live. This was an amazing activation. This was in partnership. We partnered with Unilever. Unilever owns, Ben and Jerry's. They own Axe. Obviously, it's Lynx in Europe as the brand. And again, this is, the strategy here was, how do we use Web3 as a channel to be able to access a new audience? And much like the Outside project, where Outside was focused on the Solana community, this is obviously focused on the Doge community. So for those of you who don't know, Dogecoin is a token. It's commonly referred to as a meme token, meaning that it found its popularity through a meme that was presented across the various social channels. And as you can see here, influencers took off, and then Doge took over and claimed that April 20th, which is 420. And I'll let the audience kind of put that connection together. But on April 20th or 420 is Doge Day. And that is the official Doge day that was claimed by the community. So what we did here is came out with a special edition Doge Day deodorant stick with its own dank musk. And Axe created this limited edition 100 in real life deodorant sticks. And we were going to give those away through a token gated experience. So this was solely promoted on Twitter. There was no paid media that went against this activation. And it was just promoted throughout, the Axe and the Doge community. And where users signed up for the SMT, we created an Axe custodial wallet. Users with just 2 taps could onboard into the experience. And then you went and you entered into a wait list, and you then could claim a Doge token. There was 100 tokens that we dropped in the marketplace that was embedded in the wallet. So you signed up for the wallet, you came in, there was a private marketplace where users could claim one of 100 tokens. And by claiming that token, that token, it then gave you the rights to purchase the Doge deodorant stick. However, you had to purchase the Doge deodorant stick using Dogecoin. So as part of the experience, so staying authentic to the Doge project. So that required us to actually create some new features and functionality into our wallet. So we now had to support Doge, and we allowed the users, once they signed up for the SMT wallet, they then linked their custodial wallet, and they had to transfer 420 Doge in order to purchase the Doge deodorant stick, right? And then we validated that crypto transfer took place, that this wallet Marc's wallet indeed linked their custodial wallet, and they did indeed link 420 Doge as a result of that. And then we drop shipped a Doge deodorant stick to the user that they then got as part of that. Then that token became a receipt NFT. So the receipt of that purchase actually then became a NFT that they could then hold as a digital collectible and mint onto the blockchain to commemorate that moment. So what was super cool about this is that those 100 Doge tokens that we dropped in our marketplace, they sold out in 38 seconds. It was
Wow.
it was incredible. Yes, for those 100 Doge cans. And the community behind that entire project ended up generating, there was over 2 billion social impressions. It was a massive hit in terms of all of the buzz and the excitement around the Doge community wanting the Doge stick, but then obviously helping the Axe community, help Axe grow its social community by directly tapping into the Doge community. So I think again a classic case of brands designing a truly authentic Web3 experience in order to address a Web3 audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that the interesting thing about this is that you again have those two different approaches that brands take. Either, and that's I think the best case study for that is Starbucks. You focus on your most loyal clients within like the core experience of your product, drinking coffee, and you build an experience and community and reward journey around this. Or you're really using Web3 as an acquisition channel and try to tap into new communities and expand your reach, your audience with that. And I think that's a great example of the latter, where they really like kind of combine those two communities. And we've seen that with other brands as well. I think Gucci has a lot of examples where they partnered up with different Web3 communities to launch products, collectibles, experiences, and that's just a great way to do it because it lowers your risk, and it also allows you to kind of experiment without taking too much risk and effort to build a program on your own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that in those cases when a brand, that's where we kind of provide strategy to large brands and providing strategy to our agency partners. When you're looking at going and using Web3 as a channel to address a new audience, you need to really be authentic, right? You need to understand that project, right? Like Doge or the Solana community, and like what makes the Solana community different from the Ethereum community, right? Or Bitcoin or those other projects, right? And really making sure that the brands understand the values of those projects. And then how do you design experiences that are authentic to those communities, right? Because it's kind of like playing with fire, right? If you're just doing this as as a marketing tactic to try to sell more deodorant to an untapped market or an untapped audience, we definitely don't advise that, right? And so that authenticity is super important. And because the underlying infrastructure and the technology is still nascent, we're still in our infancy. That's where we come in to really help kind of build those bridges and to build the technology solutions so that you can make it an authentic experience, such as being able to use Dogecoin to actually purchase the deodorant stick. But you then need to still make it easy for the end users, right? To be able to easily onboard with just 2 taps. And it's our job at Smart Media Technologies to abstract away the complexity, right, for the end users so that they can easily interact and become part of the community, like the Doge community. So this could be loyal Axe followers who don't have a crypto wallet, right? But now they do. From just 2 taps, they're now able to participate alongside the crypto pros and the Doge community, and really being able to bring those 2 communities together. So we're not only bridging technology solutions between Web 2 and Web 3, we're bridging communities. And I think that that's what's super fun for us, and really fulfilling. So.
Yeah, you're bridging communities, and you're also bridging subcultures with that, because every community has a certain type of culture, and as you said, it's really important that you're authentic to that and you recognize the things they value, the things they do, the symbols they use, how they talk, how they relate to each other, and I think that's a great example for that as well.
Yeah.
We have a question here in the chat specifically about that, Tyler. Could you tell us how many of the people that create wallets for the Dogecoin had never created a wallet before?
Yeah, great question,
Yeah.
Stacy. I don't have that offhand. I can tell you that the only way we would know, so because it was limited to only 100 people that could actually, link their wallet. We know that those 100 people that claimed it all had they had to link a custodial wallet in order to transfer the Doge, right? But from the previous example that you saw from outside, we know that 83% of the people didn't have a crypto wallet that purchased the NFT prior. We had created that for them as part of that. And that's really where, I would say that would almost be that, that kind of that 80-20 rule, which I think is kind of indicative to the overall, when you look at, if you were to ask general population of the US, how many actually have, a crypto wallet, it's pretty in line with that. But we're obviously really focused on, on people with smartphones, and enabling them to be able to create their first wallet. So.
Cool. Thanks, Stacy, for that question. Again, for all the listeners, we have a Q&A part now at the end. If you have questions, ask them in the chat. We're happy to answer them, and we've got plenty of time to talk about that. From my side, the first question, Tyler, we've now seen different examples where Web3 was very prevalent. Sometimes Web3 was totally abstracted away. How do you feel like brand leaders should think about that balance between completely Web2 user experiences with Web3 tech behind it, or focusing on native Web3 experiences?
Yeah. It depends on who you're talking to, Mark. I would say all the marketers that we work with, like the brand, the head of the brands and so forth, they're all super keen on Web3 and it being Web3 native and a true Web3 experience, because they see the value in the creator economy. They see the value of wanting to be able to reward their customers for their attention and for their engagements. I mean, we live in the attention economy, and brands and head of brands and brand marketers are really embracing the ethos of Web3, and they want to make that technology and make those capabilities available for their users so that they're rewarded for their engagements and spending time with the brand. So that's usually how the conversations start. And I would say that, you know, a lot of the brands, they love the fact that it's Web3 enabled. And they actually want to start with a full building a community. So they want to shift from having just loyalty members to having a loyal community. And they want to start building community. And they see that token gated experiences and the use of Web3 technology is an amazing tool for that. So that's usually how the conversations start. And then the lawyers and InfoSec and the compliance, that's where all the great Web3 campaigns go to die. And so that's so, and so now, especially for your bigger brands, right? It's you're now going into uncharted waters, right? For the legal teams, and they're like, well, what do you mean we're minting an NFT? That's a security. And then we're like, no, it's not considered a security, right? If you do it right. And so there's a ton of education that then goes in. So then we spend a month designing the campaign and the strategy with the brand team, and then we spend a month explaining to the compliance teams and the lawyers why it's safe, right? So, you know, our slogan at SMT is make Web3 easy, make Web3 safe, and make Web3 and keep it open, right? And interoperable. And so we're really good at making Web3 easy for users to get them on board. And we're also really focused on making Web3 easy for enterprise, for lawyers to understand that it's safe. And then you can design Web3 campaigns that are safe and that can be compliant. So what then ends up happening is the lawyers go, I'd feel a lot more comfortable if we weren't minting these on a public blockchain. And we're like, great, well, we can make it user minted. How about we're not you as the brand aren't publishing these NFTs. However, we enable the user to link their own custodial wallet and take custody of the Jack Daniels NFT in their own wallet, and then they pay the gas fees and they mint it to Polygon. And they're like, oh, okay, that seems safe. Like, we're not minting as a company to the chain, the user's minting it. So it's this 6 years of experience. I would say the reason we have like clear architectural superiority on our code base and why we're working with the world's largest brands is we have this ability to be backward compatible or configurable to Web 2 compliance, to allow users to be able to get large companies comfortable with the fact of we can make it just purely Web 2 if you like, but it's Web 3 enabled, so you can remain authentic to your audience and allow them to take it to a blockchain if they want to. And we've had a lot of success on that front.
Yeah, super interesting. And something I heard a lot as well when talking to brands now, also in the last couple of weeks at NFT Paris as well, is that there's often a difficulty from going from 1 to 2. So a lot of brands had like the first activations done, like simple NFT collections, simple experiments, proof of concepts. Maybe they start with tokenizing a physical product, then it becomes official. They release a NFT collection, or they design some kind of reward experiences. But then often the difficulty is getting from here to something bigger, more holistic, more connected, that goes beyond the marketing department, but affects how the business actually engages with consumers at all levels. With the clients that you work with, did you recognize a shift in thinking after you've done these projects with them? Did they recognize the opportunity of what you can do with that technology, or is it still a difficult discussion?
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's great. So we found, when we were kind of in what I refer to as the NFT 1.0 um, era, which was really driven more by speculation and FOMO, is kind of how I would characterize that as, oh, I better get a JPEG of an ape if I want to get rich. That mentality, and like not really even understanding what it was all about. I saw on TikTok or I heard from a friend. Um, so now that thankfully we've moved out of NFT 1.0 to NFT 2.0, which is focused on utility, and it's driven not by FOMO, but it's driven by long-term value for the users. You then change kind of the strategy, which is, if you're going to do this, there needs to be an always on strategy. Like, how is this going to work, not just for pure Web3 communities, but overall, why do you want to do this? And what is the 12-month, 24-month project plan for this? And oftentimes the analogy I'll draw for a marketer is I'll say, really you should be looking at using wallets and tokens the same way you use an email inbox and emails to develop a relationship with your customers or your prospective customers. So really your Web3 strategy should follow your email strategy. What is it that you're planning on telling your email database and your addressable emails that you have? And how are you using emails to build a relationship? You should be thinking the same. We should actually port that same strategy over to Web3, but now we can make it fun. We can make it engaging. We can make it, we can make it token gated, and we can actually now add clear ownership. So as I engage, I can collect, I can own, I can redeem, I can sell, I can trade. So that's where you can now add all of that, all of those elements to, and kind of supercharge or augment your CRM strategy. Those are really those are the types of conversations we're having with large brands.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because one of the key elements of Web3 is really that you can build those direct customer relationships again, and start communicating with your customers directly.
Yeah.
We have a question here from Fabrice on the Jack Daniel campaign. How did you choose the winner of the trip to the US?
Oh, yeah, great question, Fabrice. So we are a one part Web3 technology company, and we are one part an amazing sweepstakes company. And so a lot of the activations, we have over, nearly 5.5 million custodial wallets on our platform today. I would say out of those 5 million plus users, 99% of them don't even realize that they have a Web3 wallet. They just signed up for a cool mobile experience. And the reason they signed up is for a chance to win something, like a giveaway or sweepstakes. And every country has its own rules. And so Australia has its own rules and ways of picking users, which is very different than Canada and the US. So native to our platform, what we've built is what is referred to in the industry as prize fulfillment. So the ability to actually pick a winner. And so it's a random algorithm that runs, and it's bonded. Like in Australia, you need a license to be able to do this, to pick winners. So all of that compliance is built into the platform. So sorry for the long-winded answer, but we just randomly picked one, and using the token that they hold. So, and that's actually a pretty cool concept, unique to our platform, is every entry into every giveaway that we give to people on our platform. So when you earn an entry or a chance to win, we're actually giving you a unique NFT, a unique token. And we're actually randomly picking the token serial number as the winner. So it's you as that token holder and holding that entry is how we picked you as a winner, and then we notify you via your wallet that you won, and then you go through the process of claiming the prize and making sure that it's valid and so forth.
Cool. Thanks, Tyler, for that. And then we have another question again from Stacy. Do you have recommendations, resources to help with the lawyer InfoSec discussion? How can we seed that discussion?
Yeah, that's a great question, Stacy. We do. We work closely with DLA Piper. They advise us on particularly all our NFT Web3 activations. They have an amazing practice. And when we work with them, as the landscape is ever changing. In terms of how do you seed that, start sooner than later is what I would say. If a brand or an agency has any inclination of doing a Web3 activation, involve the legal team. Let them know that you're thinking about it, and get the legal team to give you guidance as to what they expect or what they're going to want to see. Right. In our case, when we start an engagement with a client, we actually make it part of our onboarding or as part of our engagement letter that we get to meet with the InfoSec team, the security team, like the CISO, like the chief security officer, and the legal team, the compliance team, the risk and reputation team. And we actually asked to have a kickoff with them early on, where we explain to them, hey, here's how it's safe and why we think you're going to be okay with this. And then you let them feel that out and see, like, are they comfortable with that? Do they want to get on a call, with our advisors to walk them through, or do they want to go seek their own legal advice, right? And bring in their own experts, which we'll then meet with. And so I would say that that's probably one of our, has become a sort of a secret weapon for us at SMT, is really our ability to move through the InfoSec and the compliance and to give the brand marketers kind of the confidence of like, hey, we've got you. We're your partner in this project. We'll help you with your own legal team. Like we've done this 100 times at this point. And I think that that's really appreciated by our partners, is having that expertise.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And then another question from Jesse Walter. He asks about the minting fees on public blockchains and whether this is an issue when you work with brands who want to build on public blockchains.
Yeah. So we are blockchain agnostic. And so we are, in terms of the gas fees and so forth, it really depends if it's if it's a user that's minting that, or if it's a public chain that's being minted. And so if we're using, no, the answer is if it depends on the chain that you're using. So when a user is minting to Polygon, they're using Matic as the token. So it depends on what chain they're minting to. Then you pay the gas fees based on the native token that's being used for that user, or for minting to that chain. And that's if they're even minting to a chain at all, or if we're just storing the objects on AWS or Google servers, which you have to do to be compliant in certain regions, such as like China. You're not allowed to mint to public chains. So we've had to develop solutions that don't even use a chain at all, that we're just storing the digital objects and creating the token gated experience as part of that, just on AWS databases.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think those are all the questions that we have for now. I have one question for you, Tyler. Mm-hmm. Maybe to close this session is, I think I asked you that last time as well, but what would you tell a brand leader who's thinking about Web3, who's thinking about the future of consumer engagement and what they can do with their brand? How should they approach this topic? What's the first step they can do in that journey?
Sorry, say that last part again.
What's the first step they can do in starting that Web3 journey for their brand?
For their brand? Yeah, I think, again, it's being really clear on what are the success metrics. what is the business outcome that you want to drive? What is a successful project look like? So I think, defining that. You then need to ask yourself, do you need Web3 to do that? Can you achieve the metrics and achieve the success without Web3? And I think kind of where we're seeing why Web3 versus Web2 really is around loyalty. So we're seeing a huge uptick in Web3 loyalty. That is a very clear use case that everybody is really driving towards and starting to adopt from brands. So meaning we're getting more and more brands coming to us proactively saying, here's an RFP. We're looking at building a Web3 loyalty platform. And then you have to ask, like, well, why a Web3 loyalty platform versus just a regular loyalty platform? And what we're seeing is this kind of overall trend where we believe that we need an app-like experience, but we need that to be a decentralized app. There's fear around, will this currency or our loyalty points be subject to marketplace, the 30% marketplace fees on Apple or on Android? So you have a lot of brands. We're seeing this very big trend around brands really stepping back, asking themselves, should we be launching progressive web apps, PWAs, and mobile Web3 apps instead of a native app? Like, really, why would you launch a native app? You need to ask yourself that. And I ask brands that all the time. Like, why do you have a native app? Well, because there's an app for that. I get that. That's like at one point. But why do you need it now? Unless you're a game developer and you're just trying to you want access to the Apple community, just like a Web3 project. If you're a large brand and you have a database of 30 million emails, or you have 20 million followers, you don't need Apple to drop your app. You can do it yourself. And at that point, that app should be decentralized and not subject to marketplace fees and not subject to Apple or Google's terms and conditions of how they control your customers' data, right? And so that's really, I would say, when brands are looking at the journey and looking at moving into Web3, they need to really understand why. Are they doing it for the right reasons? Like I just, as an example there. And is their IT department on board with that? And so, much like the lawyer discussions, now let's go talk to the CTO and make sure they're cool with launching a progressive web app and moving away from the native app, right? And so, and have that conversation. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great and very helpful, Tyler. I think this was a super good session for the people not very familiar with Web3. We covered a lot of topics. We talked about the case studies that you did with Jack Daniels, with Outside, with X. That was very helpful. And thanks again for joining today. Thanks for everyone who joined in the audience and asked questions and found this helpful. We have a QR code here. If you want to learn more about smart media technologies, you can scan this and you'll direct it to their website. Or you can reach out to me or Tyler or any of the Smart Media Tech team directly. Yeah, that's it. Was a pleasure having you, Tyler.
Yeah, Mark, enjoy the warm. Is it warm? How's the weather in Miami? I was curious.
Yeah, it's very warm, sunny, about 27 degrees.
Oh, right. So
yeah,
a little different Switzerland, huh? And so
yeah, and
always great.
You're in Colorado. You're in Colorado.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see, but we're supposed to get 2 to 4 feet today. So
wow.
we're back into full winter here. So
okay.
But it's good.
Yeah.
We can use the water. So
yeah. Yeah. Same when I visited 2 weeks ago. We had, I think, 17 degrees Celsius in Colorado, and then the next day, a huge snowstorm, and then it was sunny again.
Yeah, that's what we're known for. Is what we're referred to as our Colorado Bluebird days. So after the big storm. So Well, Marc, always a pleasure. Thank you for the time. Thank you, chat and in the community and everybody that joined. Really appreciate great questions, and looking forward to continuing the conversation in the future.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks, Tyler, and bye-bye, everyone.
All right, bye.